Good Saturday afternoon to you. Well, today I'm going to start on the project for the camera flexible mount that I've been discussing on my earlier videos. And let me show you what I'm going to be doing today. What I have here is 1/8 inch aluminum, 36 inches, 3/4 wide. Okay, this here is the base of that tablet mount. I just slid off the end pieces. The flex tube goes in here, of course, like that. Okay, I left that in the shed. We don't need that out here. What we're going to do is we're going to take this and mount this on the bottom. This faces this way, the rod comes down this way. Okay, so the camera's going to be below that with this mount down here. Now, the height of the Kodak is a little over 4 inches, about 4 1/4, thereabouts. We're going to make it 5 inches. So in other words, we're going to bend this into a C shape. Well, we're going to square it off, of course. So we're going to take some measurements here. Now the F40 comes out you figure 6.5 inches counting the strap, but the way I'm going to do it, it really doesn't have to be that wide. Okay, because when I'm swinging this around, I'm going to be banging into this probably with my head or whatever. Now with the viewfinder, if I'm using this camera, the viewfinder's got to be out. You can't run it closed, the camera will shut off. So you could turn it around and go like that, but either way you're going to need clearance to open this. So if I make this into a square, it has to be big enough to allow this. But we're not going to make it into a square, we're going to make it into a G shape. 5 inches, which should be sufficient. So we set the camera on this, we leave this end open. Alright, so it's cold out here today, it's only 50 degrees, but it is sunny. I figured I'll get started on this project. So I want to trim this down as much as possible, but I have to keep this part, because this is where the steel ball on the flex rod goes in. I need this part, so this is very important. So I have to have this. So the aluminum's going to be bolted to this. So what we're going to do is determine how much of this I can cut off. And we won't waste a lot of video time by doing that. We'll just do our measurements and make our cuts, and then I can show you how it's going to be done. So we're allowing for this size camcorder and a little bit bigger if I do get a bigger camcorder in the future, but it will not be probably very much bigger. So we also are allowing for the Kodak, which I'm recording with right now, which stands 4 inches tall. So we are going to make this 5 inches. So we got to have enough room to get our camera on the tripod mount. Okay, so simply this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take some measurements and I'm going to come back on this video very soon here. Now I've decided that we're going to come down 6 inches. This piece here will be mounted here. So we're using 6 inches of this. So we're going to cut off here, and we're going to cut off here. Center is 3 inches. Okay? We need some width to allow, well, this whole thing will turn so the camera don't have to swivel on this. It can, but it doesn't need to, because this is going to do the swiveling. This is also going to do the tilting, because that's a ball mount that goes in here. So we're using 6 inches here. We're using 5 inches here, so we're going to bend this. We're going to bend this down. So we have an L like this, coming down like this. Okay? And then we're going to have another piece coming over here. This is all going to be one piece. Down like this and over, like a G. And then this piece will go down underneath here. Now, we got to take some careful measurements to allow for this, because if you see how this is mounted, this has got a bracket already on it. This is the way I got it. Wherever it came from, I have no idea. So we're going to utilize this to mount to the stock like this. So we're going to have to think about how much we're going to bend. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make these 2 bends here. We don't want to cut anything off of the rest of it. So we're going to do that in the shed, and then I'll get right back to you. I got the 6-inch bend here. Alright, that's a 6-inch bend. Now I got to bend this one over this way. And I don't want to cut it because I'm not sure exactly where it is, but we're going to end in the middle, because this is where this is going to be mounted. Okay? I was originally going to make a box going right around, complete all 4 sides, but there's no point in that. We don't really need all that. This is 1/8 inch and it's pretty sturdy. So we got to come out this way, and then we got to put a little tail on the end of this stock. So we got to bend this over and then bend a little tail of about 1 inch long to accommodate this. So we want it in the center. We want the center to be even with the center of this rod here. So this thing is going to be mounted like this. The ends of the plastic is going to be cut off. So the plastic is only 6 inches. We do have to have some material sticking out, because the camera, if you use a larger camera, you're going to have that anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay? So I'm going to make this bend now. I'll join you in a little bit here. Alright, that's my objective. This is the top. As I said, this is going to be trimmed off. This is 5 inches from here to here. That allows the height of the Kodak plus about 1 inch to play with for this. Now we got to find the center, which is easy enough to do at the 3-inch mark here. That's going to be the center for this. And then we got to allow for that, but we got to add 1 inch on to bend this down. Okay, so that this piece can mount to a 1-inch flange at the end of this. So what we're going to do here, alright, we're 6 inches here. Alright, so what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to mark the center here. Alright. It's a 6 inch point here. It's not rocket science, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be pretty close. Alright, so that's the center here. Okay? Now, from here to here, I gotta cut it in this area here somewhere. Okay, and then bend this piece down so it'll accommodate this, so I can mount this. Now, this here is approximately 1/2 inch, if you allow for the thickness from here to here, all right? So we're playing it a little close. If we're sitting up here, we're going to be 4.5 inches. We can still get the Kodak in there. Kodak is the tallest camera I have. And unless you're using a cell phone, which I don't photograph it using cell phones, because it's like looking through a keyhole, because people don't know enough to hold their cell phones horizontally, and they got to hold them vertical. You can hold the Kodak vertical because it'll give a proper aspect ratio, but we're not designing this for a cell phone. If it was, it would be made so that you cannot stand it up on end. You'd have to lay it this way. Anyways, so let's put the cover on this thing here. Well, let me get off the camera here a little bit. Let me think about this a little bit here and make sure that we're not going to screw up, because once I cut that, I got to live with it. All right, I got the piece cut. So it's going to sit like this. Center of gravity's right here. But of course every camera is different. Some cameras are off to the side on the mount. The camera will sit right here like that. The side view, the LCD screen, can open at this end. Most cameras, they open this way. So this is why I left this open. This is very rigid. So now what I got to do is bend this piece down here, so I can accommodate this. So I got to bend this down. This is the 3-inch mark from here to here. This is 3 inches here to here. This is the center. So that lines up with this, like that. And we're going to just bend this down now so that we can accommodate this piece. And we'll do that, and we'll come back on the video when I get that done, and then I got to make some holes to mount it. All right, so we got that bent. So now that's the way it's going to have to go. The problem is it's up about 1/2 inch. So we're 4.5 inches. That's very close for the Kodak. I just measured my Kodak, and it's exactly 4 inches, or a fraction thereof, over. So it'll just barely fit in there. So I really should have probably brought this down a little lower. So I'm 4 3/8 inches to the rubber mount on this here, and just about 4 inches on the thread here. Now, I think we can do it. I think it'll be all right. The tallest camera, as I said, is the Kodak, and it's the camera that I'm going to be using mostly. So what I'm going to do off camera here is I'm going to take the Kodak off of the tripod here, stick it on here, and see if it'll fit in here okay without bending this out. I would hate to have to make another one of these. So as you can see by the photographs that I just took with my $1 camera that I bought at the school flea market today, Kodak C813 I believe it is, or 613. I think it's a 613. I don't know. Eyesight shot. It fits in there good, and I just got this laid in here now. So what I got to do is to drill a hole and put a 1/4 20 bolt and nut in there, and that'll be permanently mounted to this part. And then I got to drill a hole here and drill a hole here, and likewise in the plastic, and just bolt this through. Yeah, it's a 613, a C613. Not bad. 6 megapixel, $1. I see deals like this. Not that I don't need it, you know, but hey, I just took a snapshot with it, so you saw that on the video. Anyways, I got to get going on this. So we're going to drill out this, and we'll cut this down to size, center this, and drill the holes in this to get this mounted onto here. Well, here it is. And I'll definitely clear the Kodak and the F40. On this side, of course, is where the LCD screen is. That'll swing out and plenty of clearance. There's movement to turn the camera this way, but it's not necessary because this ball mount here is going to do all that. So I can make this rigid here. So that's quite rigid too. Alright, I got this piece cut, and I got to just drill 2 holes here. I'll do that off camera and mount it, and it'll be up like this. Very simple arrangement.